Hi everyone, good evening. The Zohar class tonight, portion Vayikra, and the main subject tonight is the power of intention, the power of consciousness. And I would love to start with a couple of minutes, a little video from the Rav about the power of consciousness, the power of intention. So let's start there.
And therefore, if we are to carefully examine this section, we will notice that it was man's activity, man's consciousness, that brought about this destruction. But you might then say, but because they were so bad, as has been a 3,400-year tradition, therefore God came along and God destroyed the people. And we know that is a no-no in Kabbalah. For God has only one characteristic, and that is one of sharing. And therefore, man's consciousness can override any consciousness of the inanimate. It can influence others, yes, but a determined individual, as we have seen over and over again, even under extreme pressure of torture, the individual who's got that kind of stamina or is in belief of something will withstand until he expires or she expires. That's the power of mind, not the power of the body.
So we got some energy here from the Rav about the big picture, that our consciousness is the one that actually determines how our life will be. So I'd like to start with a general story about this portion. And this portion story is, if you really literally, it's pretty boring. It's the portion starts with Vayikra Hashem el Moshe, and God called Moses and started to tell them about all the laws of sacrifices of animals. We know Kabbalistically it's really not about the animals will do the job for us, and all the idea of sacrifice, which next week I'll speak more in details, has to do with sacrifices of our ego. But all this portion is basically about tools to shift consciousness, because that's where all the chaos begins. And the first thing, I'll jump here, up here, we have it here. The first word of this portion is Vayikra. Vayikra. Vayikra literally means, and God called Moses. And the Rav Berg always asking the question, and also the Zohar, the Kabbalist, what? Only Moses heard God? God is universal force, talking to all of us all day long. But somehow, only Moses heard the light, heard the voice, heard the message. What was so special that Moses heard and others not? What's so special that some people hearing and we are not hearing the voice of the light guiding us what to do, what not to do in every aspect of our life? The secret lays within the little aleph. Do you see? In the actual Torah, in the actual scroll, there's different places in the Torah which the size of the letters is different than the usual size. It's only few places in the entire Torah. And one of the only places in the entire Torah is in this word Vayikra, that the letter Aleph in the left side is a small Aleph, which actually hinting the secrets why Moses heard and others did not, and we did not. The purpose of tonight's class is to learn from the consciousness of Moses what was so special about the consciousness of Moses that allowed him to hear. What's so special about the consciousness of Moses that allowed him to lead in spite of negativity around him? And what's so special about the consciousness of Moses that with his consciousness and as a result his heart and the actions that he've done, he created just blessings and positivity. So this is the main thing we would like to focus this evening about. Okay? So, very briefly, the Aleph is the same letter that the word I in Hebrew began. I, Ani. You know the letter Aleph, the word Ani, which is I, start with the letter Aleph. And Moses, with his powerful energy of humility, he knew the secret of humility. He knew that the secret that if he'll reduce the I, he'll be able to be a true listener, and he'll be able, his consciousness, to be in the right place, and he'll be able to be actually, with his power of true consciousness, create miracles. And that's what we need to learn. What does it mean, reduce the I? We heard so many times about the secret of humility and reducing the ego. But let's bring it down to earth and let's start from the Zohar, the power of true thinking, the power of feelings, the power of consciousness. When do we know we have the right consciousness? When is it the wrong consciousness? How do I control my intention in different things in life? How do I differentiate whenever my intention is real and whenever my intention is not? Our goal is to learn what types of intention planting seeds of blessings and what types of intention and consciousness planting seeds of chaos. That's the purpose of tonight's session. And I would like to start with verse 71 from the Zohar. Verse 71. Okay. If I'm not mistaken, this is the verse that you got in your card. And I'm going to read it in Aramaic, and then we'll go over the translation. Machshava de Barnash, it's very strong and very direct and very powerful, this verse. Machshava de Barnash, ireisha de chola, ומהי מחשבה התפשטו ערכין ושבילין להסתה אורחוי באי אלמה ובעלמה דעתי. ומהי מחשבה את נגיד ונפיק זוהמה דייצא הרע, לבשה לי ולחולה. ומהי מחשבה השתכחו עבירות, חטאות וזדונות, עבודה זרה, גילוי עריות ושפיכות דמים. ועל דע כי לא מחשבותיי מחשבותיכם. So, let's go with the English. If you won't mind, I'll read it. Okay. Man's thought is the beginning of everything. Thought, consciousness, intention, whatever we call it. It's the beginning of everything. Ways and paths emanate from the thought that turn his ways in this world and in the world to come. Basically tell us, according to our thought, it's awakening energy above in the upper world and energy below in the physical world that manifests basically a reality. From the thought issues and comes out the filth of the evil inclination to harming and everything. Transgressions, sins, malicious deeds prevail from that thought, as do idolatry, incest, and bloodshed. Scripture therefore says about it, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. Let's try to understand what the Zohar tells us. Basically, the first point is that we established before and the Rav spoke about. Thoughts is the beginning of everything. What type of intention I have when I'm dating, what type of intention and thoughts that I have when I'm starting a new business, what type of intention and thoughts I have when I'm negotiating, when I'm dealing with ailment or any type of challenge or situation in my life, is determined what type of energy will join into my life, what type of negativity I will create later on, what type of chaos or blessings will be revealed in my life. It's the seed of everything. So that's the first thing to establish. And now we need to understand a little bit in depth, what does it mean, the seed of everything? What control we have over it? And before I'll start getting into the details of this verse, I want to share with you a story. It was a scholar, Torah scholar, a person who tried to be as spiritual as possible. He knew the power of thoughts, the power of thinking, and he had an issue. He had so many negative thoughts, he didn't feel he could control, in his mind. It was out of control. So he came to see his teacher, a Kabbalist. He told him, come to visit me in the evening. We are going to study together and hopefully we'll be able to explore how to handle the negative thoughts that you have. So he came happy. I'm about to cleanse all my thoughts. Everything will be a new cassette in my head. He's knocking at the door. And the rabbi looking from the second floor, he says, hi, and he doesn't open the door. And he's knocking again. The bottom line, after 2 hours, he realized he's not going to open the door. He slept by his, the entrance of the door. The rabbi didn't open the door. And in the morning, he opened the door and he welcomed him in. And he told him, listen, I knew what you came. You wanted me to help you, to cleanse, to purify, to get rid of your negative thoughts. But the basic lessons you need to understand. In the same way, I had a choice to let you in or not. You have a choice what type of thoughts you're letting in or not. Yeah, we will be bombarded with a lot of type of thoughts. But if I catch myself soon enough, I have some control over what thoughts I'm permitting to be part of my system and what not. Because the fact that I have a thought comes to you, negative thought, doesn't mean I'm injecting negativity. That's the beginning of a process. If I'm letting this thought in my brain and dwell in it versus pushing it away, that's up to me. The fact that certain negative thoughts will come my way doesn't mean I'm creating negativity. Because as we've learned, thoughts can come from the light, thoughts can come from Satan, that both of them really comes from the light. The one who comes from the light directly is for me to follow. The one who comes from the Satan, for me to push away. But I have tests. After the thoughts already in my brain, and it's affecting already my feelings, of course, it's very tough to just say, snap out of it, think positive, get rid of the negative thought. As we are developing a higher consciousness about the power of letting thoughts fill our mind, then we realize how much choice we have over thoughts. We usually catch ourselves, let's say somebody told you news about something going on in his life. And without you even paying attention, suddenly you realize, wow, I wish I would have something like this in my life. And as he's talking to you, you're not present. You start to feel a little bit down and you don't know why you're down. You just start to compare. And then, 20 minutes later, you're actually down, jealous, and you have a heavy feelings. You say, how can I get rid of this negativity? I don't like the jealousy. 20 minutes ago, as the thought of comparing came, that was the time to say, out! I'm not letting you in. 20 minutes later, it's almost impossible just to say, get rid of it. So, let's get a little deeper of understanding it, okay? At the end of the verse, it's quoting, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts." It's basically the Creator tell us, my thoughts, the Creator thoughts, are not my thoughts. And that's an important secret that the Rav Berg said and shared so many times, and it's very tough to understand. The main force of Satan manifests itself first in our thoughts. All my thoughts, my opinions, my ideas, my conclusion are coming from Satan. What does it mean? Some of them are positive, isn't it? As long as it's my idea, my thoughts, my understanding, my clever mind, and even though some of these thoughts are great, are positive, they can add value, but that thinking that it's mine, I'm already letting Satan in my consciousness. The thought maybe comes from the light, but the feelings that it comes from me, it's purely from Satan. And it makes all difference. So what basically our goal? Our goal is, and we need to learn what do we need to do for this. Our goal is, if this is the light, okay, and this is my brain, okay, and this is my heart, okay, let's make a nicer heart, okay, okay, this is my heart, that's what we're going to speak about, brain and heart, okay. Basically, the goal is, and that's what tonight we're going to speak about, how thoughts that comes from the light will not be disturbed and blocked by our smart brain, and we'll be able to channel to the heart, and from the heart, we call it open heart, many blessings will come, actions will be created, light will be created, lasting blessings will be manifested in our life and in other people. But at the moment, somehow, my brain will block the thoughts that come from the light, or will adulterate them to come from me, or, in the worst case scenario, many of the thoughts that come from Satan, which is also a test that in big picture the light sends Satan to give us negative thoughts even. By adopting it, basically it will be channeled by my emotions, by my feeling, but not through my pure heart. And sooner or later something negative will be channeled through it. So, what do we need to do? What's the practice? If we said before, it says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts." Basically, the light telling us, if you're basing in your thoughts, bad news. It might look nice at the beginning, but what you really want is the thoughts of the light to be channeled through me. We spoke last time about being a channel, is the idea that real thoughts come from the light. So how do I get to that place? And I want to get a little deeper of understanding it by going to the next verse. The next verse. And we'll have a better understanding how to do it. How to allow the thoughts from the light and eventually will channel through my heart. Verse 73. Man da'atei לעולה, כולאו דחר ולא נוקבה, בגין דעולה עולה על הלב ודאי ושתדמותה, מים קיים על הלב, ובגין כך סלקה לעילה, וכולו דחין, ועל דה פתח קרא ברישה, בעולה יתיר מכל שאר קורבנין, דעה מחשבה רישה. So, all that is brought as a burnt sacrifice, again, the whole idea of cleansing the thoughts, it's a type of sacrifice that's called a burnt sacrifice, is male and not female, because the burnt sacrifice rises above the heart. Surely it is above the heart. To wit, thought is higher than the heart. It is known what is above the heart, namely thought. For thought, chokhmah, is considered male, and the heart a female, namely bina. This is the secret of understanding heart as it receives from chokhmah. The burnt sacrifice thus rises higher and is male exclusively. The verse therefore begin with the burnt sacrifice rather than the other offering, because thought is the beginning of everything. So, a little bit to look at this. So, it can be female. We're talking about male energy or female energy. So, he speaks about, we know there's the 4 out of the 10 levels, there's 4 main levels: Chokhmah, Bina, Zir and Pin, and Malchut. So the Zohar tells us Chokhmah, consciousness, consciousness, thoughts, all these parts connect to Sphira of Chokhmah. When we actually tapping the right thoughts from the right place, from the light, which affect the heart, which is Bina. And then from Bina, from a pure heart called Bina, pure feelings that come from the soul and not from another place, just blessings will be manifested. And actually, last week portion, the Torah speaks about Chachmei Lev, that all those people who build the tabernacle name the wise people of the heart. Chachmei from the word Chokhmah, Lev, his heart. Basically, those that were the channel to build the tabernacle, like Moses, Bezalel, and all the other that we spoke about, basically, what was special about them? The level of Chokhmah, the consciousness, they were pure channel of the thoughts of the light, which manifests itself through their heart, through their feeling, that could be channeled to create the tabernacle and everything else. So there was Chachmei Lev, the wise people of the heart, means the brain and the heart were connected. The godly brain and the heart were connected. So, to understand how we actually becoming in touch more with the right intention, we have to understand that as a test of intention, and it's amazing to question ourselves, 99% of the time, the thoughts somehow involved with Satan. Because when we learn the depth of 10 luminous, the study of 10 luminous emanation, we know when the actual vessel began. The idea of I started to take place. Anybody studied 10 luminous emanation? We've learned there's Keter, Chokhmah, Bina, Zir and Pin, and Malchut. At the beginning is Keter, is pure light. But when is the idea of I want something started? In Bina, absolutely. In Bina. In Chokhmah, actually, there's no yet I. The opposite. The word I in Hebrew, Ani, I, which is the beginning of the ego, it's actually, if you change the letters, what do you get? Ein. Ein means nothing. And nothing. Ani is I, Ein is no one. The idea of the opposite of I. If you just change the sequence of the letters. From I am to nothing. And the idea of connecting, the only way I can actually connect my thoughts to the light thoughts, if every thought that comes to me of my opinion, my idea, say restrict, let it go, it's mine, I don't want it. My feelings, restrict, let it go, it's mine. It's about me. And if actually, of course, if we'll be able to be extreme about it, we might not function in a practical world. The idea is to gradually connecting to that concept of connecting to the thoughts of the light. But every time we can pause and restrict, every time I feel it's my opinion, it's my feeling, it's my understanding, even though it's not something negative, just the whole idea, my idea, let go. Let go, it's my idea. I want it to be unattached to me. Thoughts, in order for thought to be pure, I have to let go of my agenda, my excitement about me. Any attachment I need to let go. Because eventually, thoughts that comes from the light are without the interference of me. Of course, there's a long process because none of us can all day long connect to the thoughts that come from the light, and the ego is involved. But the practice of restricting every thought that comes to me and saying push away the I from the picture, and the I can manifest itself as thoughts that stimulate from lack. Every time you're lacking someone, something, someone has something more than you, right away the I wake up. I need some energy. And then Satan will stimulate thoughts. Think about it. You feel insecure. What type of thoughts will come to us when I feel insecure? Negative thoughts. Why? Because when I feel secure, it's I. It's a very powerful, strong I. So when thoughts comes when I'm insecure, I need to push them away. What type of thoughts coming to us when I feel above someone, better than someone? It might be appearing positive, but they're not coming from the right place, because the I is very powerful. I need to actually question every thought. Where does it come from? Does it come from the I? Let's say I have a major competitive issue. There's nothing wrong in my life, but I'm competitive. And I'm coming in, there's nothing wrong, by the way, to have ego of being competitive, because by restricting it actually, and by channeling it right, we can achieve a lot, but I need to restrict it. And if I have energy of competitiveness, and that's where the thoughts coming from, basically the thoughts that will come are not purely from the light. So what do I need to do? Just restrict it. No, it's not the right thoughts. Restriction, permitting actually to let thoughts from the light comes to me. Somebody, as I shared with you, I'm going to give different examples that we're going to start to differentiate the I from thoughts that come from above. If somebody is sharing with me a story, as I shared before, and right away I'm comparing to me, that's human nature. Being in New York, it's a competitive environment, isn't it? Everybody's running towards somewhere. Everybody has a goal, which is nothing wrong about it. But with this come a lot of I, a lot of I need, a lot of it's not going to be enough, a lot of comparing. At the moment I'm starting to compare, I'm listening to someone. If I'm really listening, a lot of thoughts that can help that person will come to me. At the moment I start to be busy, what should I answer this guy as he's talking to me? What should I tell them? What is the smart thing to say here? Is it I or the light? When I'm listening to someone and that's what comes to me, what is a smart thing to say to that person? Is it I or the light? It's totally I. Restrict. What is a smart? I don't want to think about smart. Let me try to listen to him. Yes, but again another thought. But that's what restriction is about. You restrict. And out of nowhere, suddenly, amazing thoughts come to you that can assist that person. All of us have selfishness. All of us have I. 99% of the time. But if I would like that my thoughts will build lasting buildings in this world, lasting structures in this world, I need to recognize that I, which is most of the time. So many times we've been trained by the Rav Berg and Karen Berg. When you listen to someone, very often you're already putting them in a box of certain type of personalities. And a thought comes to you, I know already the answer. What you should do and shouldn't do. It's a unique soul here in front of you. It's not one of 12 signs, or one of 4 types of personalities, or 9 types of personality. There's a unique situation, a unique soul, so let go of I know already, I'm experienced already. Our experience should give us the confidence that the light will help me how to handle that situation. So the I need to be restricted, because if it's I, it's not Chokhmah anymore. What does it say? Who should be above? In order for us to pure heart, what should be above? Consciousness or feelings or heart? What should be above? Consciousness. Now, when I'm coming from insecurity, what stimulates thoughts? Consciousness or feelings? Feelings. When I'm coming from jealousy, feelings. When I'm coming for feeling down, feelings. When I'm coming for feeling I'm better than anybody else, what comes first? Feelings or consciousness? When I'm better than anybody else, it's feelings. I feel great, I'm above. That's what ego is all about. The goal in life is to have an open heart. The goal in life is not to be a smart guy that think all day long and everything is intellectual. But when I have the real consciousness of the light without calculation, then my heart will be open. Then the right feelings will come. That's our goal. That's what we want to reach. And this week, we have unique gifts and blessings that we can raise our consciousness and our intention to a much higher realm. And just to bring it home, I would like each one of us to look at the last 3 hours, things that happened to you, situation that you dealt with, mundane things you dealt with, husband, wife, spouses, friends, children, parents, whatever, work, news, in a rush. Let's be honest with ourselves. Was our thoughts connecting to Chokhmah or connecting to the I, which is actually creating a negative seed? So let's try to look at the last 3-4 hours and more specifically share where the thoughts were not connecting to Chokhmah, and I didn't make any effort to restrict the I thoughts, and it was connecting basically to Satan thoughts, which later on manifests itself into real negativity, because it's starting with thoughts and eventually it builds up to negativity. Yes?
So, I understand, but oftentimes we get into confrontations where someone says it's black and you say no, it's white, and it okay, so but it is white, and they're like, no, it's black. So how do you let go of that?
Listen, we live in a 1% world, so the ego and the soul will be involved. We're not going to be overnight like I'm just a pure channel, I'll be quiet, I will not talk to anybody, will be just from the thoughts. Our goal is to better ourselves. That's our goal, to better ourselves. In many incidents, you need to react immediately, but as you more working to purify your thoughts to come from the right place, more rapidly the thoughts that will come to you and the ideas that will come to you will come from the light. And eventually, sometime you need to be tough with someone like Moses was with the Israelites sometimes, but it comes from the light, not from I. For it's clear to me, I need to be tough now. It's like nothing to do, it's not personal. We are far from being there. And it's not about black and white, it's a gradual process. So please, let's share in the last 3-4 hours where our thoughts was totally I. The thoughts, before it became negativity. Just the thoughts. Please, in groups of 2 or 3, please share it with each other. So, how will it look like to bring it down to earth when we will not be consumed with the I? Because we cannot, I would like each one of us actually to develop new appreciation how consumed we are with the I. I need to make PR for myself. I need to look good now. I need to sound good right now. All this I that actually blocking our thoughts. So how does it look like when I'm pushing away the I? Pushing, what's the opposite? What type of thoughts will come? What type of feelings will come? And there's one word behind it. Care. 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 Caring. Care. Okay. Okay. C-A-R-E. Care. Yes. Care. Sorry about my English. So, and I can tell you how we've been educated from a young age, started from a young age here in the center with the Rav Bergen Karenberg, that the center is not based on a great lecture, on great marketing, or smart minds how to capture this and that, whatever. The foundation of the center, and that's the only way will be lasting foundation, and that's what I've learned and we all learn from the Rav Berg and Karenberg. It's about care. It is about care. At the end of the day, we need to learn from our brain, the Rav always said. What does the brain does all day long? Care of all the organs of the body. All day long. That's the reason, by the way, the brain doesn't feel its own pain. Maybe in the skull we can feel pain. The brain itself doesn't feel its pain. It's good and it's a problem. But the system, because the brain all day long care about the entire body, so that's the reason the brain doesn't feel its own pain. When I will be in a real place of caring, in the state of care, whatever I do, care about people outside of me, from a real place, not from a righteous place, because sometimes care, it's all about I. Caring too much, I'm worrying too much, I'm stressed out too much, what's going to be with them? That's not care. That's imbalance, it's not the light anymore. So I'm shut down, I cannot handle other things and other situations. When it's come from the light, when it's too much and I'm too consumed, the I is involved. Whatever, even in a positive way, too much. I'm focusing my energy, giving too much to someone that doesn't deserve it, the I is involved. That's the reason imbalance comes, because the I is involved. But the consciousness of care is the ultimate expressions of connecting to the right thoughts, because that's what the thoughts of the light is all about. It's all about care. It's all about care, which eventually will let our heart, when my consciousness is in the right place and I'm getting rid of the I, my heart will feel true empathy towards other people, towards other situations, especially those who knows Karen Berg. The way we grew up with Karen, like our mother, spiritual mother. The constant consciousness always before her is care. Care. And there's a lot, thousands of people she needs to care about. But constantly that's even in times of difficulty, the time of stress, which actually the times of difficulty, the time of stress, the times of pain. This is the time the I takes over completely. Because I have a lack, which somehow in my body, in a lower level, that usually wants to take over. But the test is, in spite of the lack, in spite of I want to focus on the I, let go of the I right now. Care. Because when you do this, the I will be taken care of. When I'm connecting to the aim, and I'm connecting practically to the consciousness of care, actually the I will be taken care of. And anybody that is honest with himself know how much we're far from truly caring. Real care of people outside of me in a balanced way, in a way it makes a difference. Not crazy caring that consuming me and neutralizing my energy, which can be attachment and neediness and whatever reason it comes. None of us have a natural care. We need to build it. We need to build it. When the I is too involved, because of any type of lack or void which I'm letting taking over, I will not care anymore. And that's where it all starts. It can be even when you come to the center. I'm coming to get some good wisdom, lesson, connections, energize, inspiration. It starts with caring people around me. Caring about little things, caring about people, caring about little. That's what community is about, is people who care for each other. In spite of all the issues, in spite of I'm not going to be the best friend of everyone, there's enough people and things to care about if I'm just channeling my energy right. I have a choice in life very often. Should I focus on what's bothering me to a level that I'm so consumed with myself, or should I focus to choose to put my energy into place of care? That's the only thing that, by the way, will make us ever happy. Forget about any results in our life. Even giving is not the goal. Giving is to bring us to a place of care. Every time I'm giving beyond my comfort zone, is to get me to a place I really care. Giving is the tool. Because the ultimate level, care and love in Hebrew is the same numerical value, 13. Which is the ultimate, which 13 is the same numerical value of the word one. Oneness with the light, represented by love and by care. So all the little restriction that I do during the course of the day, I'm reactive restrict. I have opportunity to give a comfort zone, to be nice to someone, to give charity, to stretch, to restrict, do it. For what reason? That I gradually purify my vessel and I'm getting outside of the I and I'm developing level of care. Forget about being 100% caring. More caring. More outside of myself. Because that's the significance of connecting to Chokhmah. Getting rid of the I. I have the thoughts from the light that comes which connecting to care. And sometimes it's about caring about my soul. By the way, caring about my soul or caring about someone else is the same. Because we don't feel the soul is I most of the time. So if I say, I need to feed my soul with some light of the Zohar, that's care. You care about yourself. Even though I'm tired, even though I'm this and that, I need that energy right now, okay? That's care. Caring about my soul or caring about other people, that's how it's expressing itself when I am connected. And we're developing gradually a bigger heart. Because the reason our heart is cold, the reason our heart is warm, what's the reason? Think about it. Whatever people say has such a warm heart, or he has a closed heart. What's the reason? We have fears. Everybody potentially have a big heart. But is fear? What is fear? What is fear? Is it I or care consciousness when I have fears? What is fears? I. All our fears shutting our heart. Fears in the consciousness will cause my heart to be shut. Will be my heart to be limited. Will be my heart will be only about care about myself. That's what fear is about. Calculation. manipulation. It's not trusting. It's like,
so back to where we started. What do you do? So a thought enters in, you don't pay attention.
it's not don't pay attention. Restrict. Is it for me? I don't want it. It's not you don't pay attention.
No, I'm saying you don't even...
Let's say you don't restrict. You don't.
No, I'm saying, not some level. You don't see that it's happening to you.
Okay, so a thought
After
comes
a
to
while,
you.
you feel,
Yes.
whatever it is, a negative feeling.
Yes.
It's basically fear in different forms.
Yeah.
What do you do then, after it already happened?
That's not this class is about. This class, then you go to the mikveh and other things, okay? This class,
Times a day.
no, of course, it happened to all of us. But this class, we want to focus more on, start to pay attention to thoughts as they're coming to me. That's what we want to focus this class is about. And to realize so many of our thoughts is coming and stimulate from the I, from need, from so many of our thoughts. It's crazy. And it's tough, we're challenged. You need to sell something. And you don't have the money to pay the bills. You sell yourself, you don't have the money to pay the bills. So do you want to sell it or not? No, I don't want nothing. No. You're going to sell, but before selling you say, you know something? I don't care. The light will do. I'll do my sales pitch, but I don't care. I'm willing to give up the I. And from that place, and then what we spoke, and so what's left? I want to try to help here. I want to make a difference. Of course, the initial motivation is ego, and it's okay that ego has become a driving force to get us close to something. But then, before letting it really be my consciousness, 1 second. I'm willing to let go of the I. Let it go. And then we need to develop trust that it will come. The thoughts will come. The words will come. It's simple things, we all know it works. You're sitting in airplanes, you're not so excited. You're tired, you don't have a great mood, or in a subway, or anywhere. And then somebody asks you about Kabbalah, and suddenly you don't think about yourself. You just want to inspire them. And the words that comes to you, it's amazing. You don't think about yourself. It's amazing. And you're suddenly exciting them, and suddenly you getting excited. It's so simple. But we're all forgetting it. Because we don't trust 100% the system. But this is, again, as you said, the biggest problem is we don't have the awareness of the power of thought, so we let them in. And we don't stop them as they are coming. We need to put the gate like the guy, that Kabbalist didn't let him in. He told him, you have a choice. If you catch yourself early enough, don't let them in. It comes, no, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested.
Wait, so if someone comes to you with a problem, they expect to get some sort of direction.
Yes.
Okay. And you're getting negative information, sort of, because they wouldn't be there if they weren't very terrific. So how do you personally stop the gate?
So, stop the gate, of course. You need, basically it says, to try to be as present as possible and to push away the thoughts of already I know, just to listen, to try to focus on listening instead of already having the answers. And to develop care as much as you can. And it's not black and white. You care, and a thought of ego comes, and you push it away, but gradually we purify ourselves that way. So the key is to try to be as present as possible and to listen outside of myself. You know, very often, even once Karen Berg said, very often we hear about someone's going to pain and we feel the pain because we're saying, imagine if this would happen to me, this and that, it's horrible, so I feel empathy and I'm crying about my own child and I'm not saying it's bad, but it's still about me. And that's something. How do we develop feeling for someone else without me? Because usually we only feel me.
Right.
We only feel me. And if we feel someone else, it's because I can feel something similar I had or I have. It's a long-term process. It doesn't come naturally. We need to understand life is about transformation. We need to gradually developing that nature of not seeing everything through I and through me. But in a very simple level, the opposite of I is care. Truly care. Please.
If you're going with adversity to somebody else, so you're having a debate or something wrong, and you have all these negative thoughts, it's very challenging to care about someone, for example, who is potentially doing something bad to your business, bad to your personal life, bad to your family, whatever. So for me, specifically yesterday I had a business situation. Today I get up and my entire day I'm fighting myself everything I want to say to that person negatively and how you're affecting my life. And again, it's a black and white situation. I think they're insane in everything that person was thinking. And I say stop it, but then it comes right back. I don't know where I can find how I'm supposed to care for that person specifically.
In some situation you should at least care, even a simple way, care for your soul. Not to poison your soul with negative energy. So in this particular place, quiet, I'm not coming from the right place. Push it away, push it away, push it away. Until maybe the next day you'll come from the right place and you will need to tell that person something. But coming from place of more, if it's not sharing, at least putting healthy boundaries, but not coming from the poison, not coming from venom and hate and dislike, and because that will be I, and if that's consciousness that I'm coming from, with a lot of passions and feelings, those feelings are negative feelings, which creating negative angels, which creating negative realities, and I don't need it. So even care about my soul, sometimes. Let's say a person is very negative, I'm not interested to care about him. Understand?
I was aware of it, I just couldn't
get over it. There is just delaying. As long as let's say you see the thoughts is negative.
Yeah.
It's big part of the winning. In negative you say, I'm not going to act on it yet. So the fact that you wait a day or two until you act on it, that's by itself, you did the right job. You don't let them in.
He might not be able to do that though. He might need to react.
You're right, but...
In my mind right now, I'm not actually acting on it, but in my mind I've played it out
Okay, so you want to ask, it's in your mind, okay, you didn't speak about it, you didn't act on it, maybe you restricted physically, but it's still in your mind. What can you do about it? Just read to yourself that first verse that we read, that actually thoughts creating all the poison in our life. It's good to have motivation that comes from fear in life. Healthy fear, it's positive. If I starting to realize that having certain negative thoughts creating chaos in my life, and I'm starting to realize it is a reality, I'll find a way to switch gear. So sometimes I need to use fear in a positive way to realize I cannot go on this way. Because what happens when I have negative thoughts? I'm in a blame consciousness. And I lost the awareness what damage it can cause to me. I'm looking at the wrong picture. The reason I'm so much invested with negative thoughts is because I'm so invested in what? In what they did wrong and how horrible. And if I'll pause for a second and say, 1 second, am I afraid to damage myself with all this garbage? I'm not afraid enough. So healthy fear helps as well to switch gears. I want to read verse powerful. The result of being able to be in the right consciousness. It's all story, I'm not sure we'll read everything, of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, the author of the Zohar. 240. דלה אהבה גזרה דתגזר על עלמה לעילה, דלה מבטל לה. היינו דכתיב מושל באדם, קודשה ברוך הוא מושל באדם. ומי מושל בקודשה ברוך הוא? כביכול צדיק דקודשה ברוך הוא גזיר ויהיו מבטל. Let's read it. There was not a decree that was pronounced above over the world that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai did not nullify. This is the meaning of he that rules over men, namely the verse, the rock of Israel spoke to me. He that rules over men must be just, ruling in the fear of Elohim. The Holy One, blessed be He, rules over men. Who, as it were, rules over the Holy One, blessed be He. The righteous man rules for the Holy One, blessed be He, decrees and He nullifies. What does the Zohar tell us? Sometimes there are decrees based on tikkun, based on collective negativity. There are decrees that certain negativity need to take place. Personal negativity, collective negativity, certain decree that it has to take place. Now, it says that the Kadosh Baruch Hu, Kudsha Baruch Hu refer to Zir and Pin, higher spiritual level, that based on that decree, based on the tikkun, collective tikkun, personal tikkun, negativity has to happen, you cannot do anything. But it says, who can actually nullify the decree? A righteous person. In this case, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, which there's a story, I will not read everything. It says that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was sitting in the gate of the city of Lod, and he raised his eyes and he saw actually the sun. He saw, most people didn't see, the actual sun is shining and becoming dark, shining and becoming dark, and he realized there's a negative decree about to come to the world, something bad about to come to the world. Okay? And then is basically, there's a whole story how Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai taking the snake and sending him back to his hole and decreeing to cancel the negative thing was supposed to happen. Actually, many people in the world were supposed to die. And what the Zohar basically tells us is not to speak just about the righteous, powerful Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai that can nullify any decree and any type of death and any type of chaos in the world. Not just that, is to tell us when we are connected to that consciousness of Chokhmah, consciousness of care, pushing away the I consciousness, and being able as a result to operate from an open heart, we have the power to cancel decree for other people. Decrees meaning negative thing that's supposed to happen to other people. Each one of us have the power to do so. Our goal in life is to become like God. Is God in control? Is God in control? God is the cause, isn't it? The cause of all causes. So what is the ultimate becoming like God? Becoming the cause, becoming in control. The light wants us to stop chaos. The light wants us to say no to cancer. The light wants us through our own right consciousness to be able to prevent chaos that happen in the world. That's the ultimate level that the world will come eventually, but enough of us personally needs to start to access it. Because when we are connected to the right thoughts, the thoughts that we'll have is actually transformation of chaos around us. That's the ultimate. Not just by intellectual explanations, which that's what the I mind wants to be involved all the time. Intellectual. By having that strength of the light and certainty of the light that's channeled through us, that you come to someone and say, it will be fine. It will be fine, whenever the light directing us to do so. That we have the power actually to nullify a negative decree. Consciousness, I summarize. As the Rav said at the beginning, God doesn't punish. Remember the Rav said at the beginning? God doesn't punish. God is an infinite force of goodness. But when my negative consciousness is there, God is not welcome in. There's no affinity. So what is welcome in? The force of chaos, the force of destruction, the force of Satan. And everything starts with little things. Little insecurity, little jealousy, little sadness, little comparing, physical ache. Whatever it is, it's always starting with one thing that causes me to consume with the eye, and that's when the major desire to receive for oneself alone comes about. But consciousness is everything. We want to have the consciousness of the light comes to us instead of my consciousness, the I consciousness, which is consciousness of care, which is consciousness of certainty, which is consciousness of humility, which is consciousness of the little aleph that we got at the beginning of the portion. The little aleph is, let's get rid of the I, let the light be my guide. I want to get rid of the I. And as a result, Moses was the only one that could hear the Creator with his instruction. The Creator spoke to everyone. It's all from the light. The darkest thoughts is from the light. Because the light knows I have choice about it. One step at a time.